Ritesh had seen about me, I feel, more than I have seen about myself. The strange part is, I've always been bubbly, chirpy, and stuff like that as characters. But for the last 10 years, I've been a homemaker. I think he had designed everything so clear, and that's the beauty about playing a character.
3 years ago, 4 years ago, I thought, I want to direct. The first person I spoke to was Genelia, and she said, "I think you can."
If him and me are seeing films, we both have two different perspectives on it. So I always felt that he was going to do it at some point in time. Like he said, sometimes it's just difficult to take that decision. But I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming at some point.
I believe this film is for the entire family viewing. So I feel that you will experience, definition or madness in love. Hi guys, this is Riteish Deshmukh.
Hi, this is Genelia Deshmukh.
And you're watching Bollywood Hungama.
Ritesh, what I want to ask you is, producer and director is where the tussle is. Producer wants to make money, it should be lucrative, or like she was saying, budgets fail. Here, the creative person that Riteish is wants everything.
Oh my God.
So how do you handle this tussle within yourself? Because one, you want the best, you want to give the best quality. You are yourself telling me the challenges that Marathi cinema faces. How do you find this balance?
It is difficult because there was a cricket sequence in the film that I was shooting, and I said I need 3 days, and she said that no, you cannot have 3 days. I actually wanted 4 days. She said I'll give you 2 days because I can't. Your film cannot afford. I said, but I need these shots and I need this, and I've thought of this shot and that. He said that is fine. You choose what you want because this is a film. And rightfully so, we shot it in 2 days. I stole half a day from somewhere else and still did that. So 2.5 days I did. And then later there was a sequence where I said, just give me 1 day. And she said, no, you take 3 days for this. Because this is where the soul of the film is. So don't compromise on this. So what happens is that there's a balance between me and engineer to understand, okay, fine, I will be more than happy यार मुझे एक दिन चाहिए तुम 3 दिन दे रहो बाकी तुम देखो मेरा थोड़ी काम है. So there's a nice balance out there to understand. Also, what happens is that slowly on the road you understand that indulgence for a filmmaker, it's important to find your sequences where you want to explore indulgence. It cannot be everywhere because it needs also it's a film that you're making in a language where the market is extremely restricted. Yes, if there's a certain market to it and then you can indulge yourself, then fair enough, go ahead. There's nothing wrong in it. But when you have restricted parameters, what can you make the most of it? But apart from that, my main criteria was see, I'm an architect. So there will be certain frames that will be more architectural, more landscape frames which I like. There will be frames wherever I could do, but I will not put them above the scene or the emotion of the film. So when it is emotional, it's my basic frame to catch them because I don't care of the backdrop. I care of the actor and what he's trying to convey, and is it coming to. Of course, there are things where there are long shots. There's a scene in the film where Ashok's mama, Ashok Saraf, is trying to, has just had a heart attack, and after having a heart attack, his friend is trying to convince Satya, the main protagonist, to do something. Now, I was shooting that on a beach. I took an absolute landscape shot where it's sunset, it's wet, and Ashok Mama is sitting like a small figure in this, looking towards the ocean, almost like sunset of his life, and there's a corner. So it's just in my head. I don't know how many people might get it, not get it. But wherever I thought I wanted to do that, but post that, it is wherever. So the close-ups and mids and whatever one has to do. But yes, you have to choose emotions over being cinematic, and cinematic should only add to cinematic visuals should add to what emotion you're trying to convey.
Right. Is it two questions? One, is it tough to tell him that sorry, I'm not giving you 4 days?
Yeah.
And two, is it easy to convince him with that?
So the thing is, I've always been on the other side as well, and I know how much this matters. You
Right.
know, like not in direction, but I'm just saying as actors, you know when a set is smaller, when a set is bigger. You know when people are just rushing through something, or when people are taking time and doing. So I understand that aspect of it. Now, having said that, Riteish is a great. We're a great team. I would say, like in terms of we don't overstep each other's capabilities or abilities or want of doing something, so if he feels that he wants to do it in a certain way, I want to make that happen. It's not like I don't want to make that happen, and I'll try my level best, whether it's in the way I plan it or in the if it really comes to a point where I feel that it is more about luxury than about this, then I'll go to him and say, this is it. And in that also, I'll give him luxury. It's not like, I'll take that aspect. For me, as a producer, I'd always want to give the director or the people that work in MFC that 20% of luxury. Like I'd want that on, for them to have. But for that, you need to be particular about the other 80%. Like you can't be having luxury in that 80% and then expect me to give you that extra 20% is what I feel. But with Riteish, he's very easy, like, and with us, like as people, we sit and talk. So even if it's an issue with, art or with choreography or whatever, we would sit and talk. We wouldn't hide it for any which way. If there's a reason I'm saying no, it's a conversation. Right. It's not because I have the control to say no that I'm saying no. It's about it not needing it or it not being possible. Right. That's about it. So so no, it wasn't difficult to answer your question. He was a good team player throughout, and I hope I was a good team player too.
Was she?
No, absolutely. I think most of my stress was gone because you want a production to be handled by someone who's able and who you can trust, so that I could concentrate on getting the other stuff right. See, it was new to me, so it was also being at the back of mind. Also, the actor that I was working, I thought they were also judging me as to what I was doing. It's not easy. It's the most difficult part about directing for the first time is to decide that you want to direct.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that's the first step. That is the most scariest
step. So why
step.
did you want to direct? First question.
Whatever I know about films is because I watched a lot of movies.
Right.
Okay. But whatever I learned about filmmaking was when I came on the set. I had no clue. We were newcomers. I didn't know what tripod was, camera, lensing. All this was on the set, and I used to spend a lot of time on the set just looking at people, acting, how they perform, whatever. And slowly, then I decided, should we produce a film? That is also a big step.
Yeah.
Should we get into production? You're an actor. Why you want to get into production? Not your job. But you want to make certain kind of films. See, also the films that I have produced are not the films that I've made the choices as an actor, because they never came to me. So it was very important. And then when every time was a progress in life, you need to take a step ahead from whatever you're doing. So from acting, it went to production. After 10 years of production, 4 years ago, I thought, I want to direct. The first person I spoke to was Genelia, and she said, I think you can. I said, but no,
I always knew he wanted to direct, but because he sees films as a very different. Like if him and me are seeing films, we both have two different perspectives only. Wow. Like I just see it very layman, very normal. He sees it with wow, this shot, and I've not even seen that shot. I'm like, so I always felt that he was going to do it at some point in time. Like he said, sometimes it's just difficult to take that decision, but. I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming at some point.
Right.
I say Riteish wakes up every day with one dream, and then we have to find ways of solving it every day. Like he's even launched Desh Music now.
Right. Yes.
It's his dream which I support. I feel that's.
Right. Coming to you again, Genelia, what was his, now coming to the film, what was his brief about the character firstly that you play? You played such different
Khilnani.
characters
Yeah,
in
I
life. Here
have.
we see you in such a different
Yeah.
avatar.
Yeah, so I've always played, this young,
Yeah.
bubbly, and more like the first girl actually
Right.
in the film. The other role, like there's another girl,
Okay.
and so there are two love stories
Okay.
basically in our film. The first love story is extremely fresh, young, and that's something that I've played my entire life. To a point where Riteish told me about this character, and it sounded really interesting. The strange part is I've always been bubbly,
Yeah.
chirpy, and stuff like that as characters. But for the last 10 years, I've been a homemaker. I did nothing but, was a homemaker, was there for, relationships like husband-wife relationship, children-mother relationship, mother-in-law, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law relationship. That was my life for the last 10 years, looking after the house, figuring it out. And I did that. And I found it the toughest job, by the way. The homemaker's job. Now, that's something that Riteish had seen about me, I feel, more than I have seen about myself. So, when Shravani's character was offered to me, there was like a graph. It started from being really young, and not someone who's out there, not someone who's extremely confident to go and say what she's feeling, but very confident within herself about what she's feeling. So, it starts from there, it goes into a zone where she gets married, it goes into a zone of, having to take a lot of strong decisions of being supposed. So for me, it's honestly my most complex character that I've played. Like I have not played something as complex as it. I've played some characters in the south which are like different, but again they were very young. It was a very you know prior 25 phase. It was that kind of zone that I've always played. This is post. This is like a 30-year-old girl probably at that zone. And it starts with her being really young. So there was a whole graph. Now, having said that, I don't think I did too much in that. I think he had designed everything so clear. And that's the beauty about playing a character. Like when it's designed so well, then you just go with your process as an actor. Like Riteish was extrememly particular about how I need to look, to my bindi, to my earrings. Like there was a point where I'm coming after 10 years and you're making me so simple. Like he wouldn't even allow a stitch different. Like, like he wanted to have self on self, a lot of self on self in terms of colors and stuff like that. And initially I was like, but why? Why? And he was clear, like, she has eyeliner, she has like all those aspects he gave me. But I just didn't get it. I just, like initially, and then when I started seeing what he was shooting, then I just let myself go into this character. But even in that aspect, like for being a new director, and I've done quite a bit of work, every expression that I gave, I would come and check with him because even with my smile, like he had engineered how much I need to, in terms of this is not Shravani. She wouldn't go like there is a coyness, there is a a depth to this kind. So there was a lot of listening to Riteish also because he has lived with this film like it's Rian, Rael, and Wade. It's like that kind of zone. It's that much of a baby to him. Till date, like we're 2 days to the release. Every day he is going to find one. Like that's I guess his involvement. It's probably a small thing, and that's something that I don't even know about. And he's like, "Did you notice that?" And I'm like, "No." But
like yesterday we had a cast and crew trial and everything was fine, and then I sat there and I realized two places the background scores 2 notches lower than what I had. Then at
which none of us have known, but yeah.
So then I had to go at 2 o'clock at night to change the background score. 2 subtitling were wrong, so I had to figure that out. And so yeah, I mean you see because once it's gone, then it's gone. There's nothing you can do. Like right now I'm sitting here with you. and there's nothing I can do over the film.
Yeah.
Right.
It is what it is.
It is what it
Yeah.
is.
No, and coming back to like Shravani, I feel that I'm at a phase where I'd like to play a lot more of these roles.
right.
Like, you know, I'd like to do stuff like that. I was happy that he's given me that. Because, see, I also haven't seen myself like this. I've also seen myself very different. And I think there's so much scope to do so much work in that genre. Yeah.
Right. You know, you're saying this, it's so exciting, so can't wait to watch it, because, you know, what you achieved when you were actively working was something you, Genelia, completely conquered. And, you know, nobody till date has been able to. A lot of people thought that, you know, there'll be someone like you who'll come and fit that box.
Yeah.
Nobody has done that till
Oh no,
date.
thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a blessing in a large aspect, but I also think that I'm just me. Like from the time I've knew anything about acting, I just wanted to play the roles that I wanted to play, and I didn't want to be one of those, you know, actors who had the best clothes, and it just wasn't part of me. And I think that's a large audience. Like when people used to ask me, I remember, you know, when I won one of these awards for the most amount of ads for that year that I had done, and people were like, you know, there are bigger actresses and stuff like that, and here you are someone who keeps getting and they had told me something very interesting, which said that, you know, you're that link between the consumer and the brand, which like many people say we don't want to be girl next door, but I love it. Like I love it. Yeah.
Right, and good, we get to see some side of that on Instagram, so keep that going, please.
Those were my auditions with Riteish.
Riteish, you know, talking to an audience that will go and watch this, you know, there are Marathi cinema lovers, there are people waiting for this. What do you want to tell them? You know, she was telling a little bit about the story, but who is this made for? What kind of an audience? Lay Bhari was one particular audience. This is so different.
So, Wade actually is primarily, it's not a love triangle, there are two love stories. So, one love story is at a younger age when, you know, how do I say it? Let me start off by saying Wade means madness, and you need to you know, nurture certain madness in you to live.
Okay.
Otherwise, there's no point of living. Okay, there has to be madness in what you do. It may be a job, it may be the sport you play, it may be the work you do, it may be the family you have, or whatever. There has to be certain craziness, certain passion, madness. So Wade definitely means crazy, passion, madly in love, passionately in love. But this talks about romance. Primary two love stories. One love story is much more younger. At younger love story, there's a certain rush, there's euphoria, and you know, at that age when you fall in love, you only think about the person in front of you and yourself, and the world disappears because the world doesn't matter at that age. It's just you and me, and it's a very impulsive kind of a love story. And 12 years later, you find Satya because one day, out of nowhere, the girl disappears from his life for no reason. And now 12 years later, Satya finds himself married to Shravani, which is played by Genelia. And, you know, after the girl leaves, he goes in a dark space, self-destruction mode, starts drinking, smoking, good for nothing. And here finds himself married to Shravani. Now the love story shifts through Shravani's perspective. And how Shravani has always loved this boy.
Right.
From her childhood.
Wow, nice.
And at one point she decided, and it's selfless love. So there's a certain madness about selfless love.
Right.
Where you have surrendered yourself without expecting the other person to love you. And that's what a certain kind of maturity that she brings to the relationship and whatever.
Right.
And I believe this film is for the entire family viewing.
Yeah.
Like Lay Bhari was, you know, youngsters, action and whatever, and you know, but this film has a bit of that and a lot of family. So I feel that you will experience, you know, definition or madness in love at various age groups.
Okay.
So it could be young, it could be older, the relationship between a daughter-in-law, father-in-law, a mother and the father, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend. So we have explored the relationships a lot in this film.
Nice. More power to you. You're doing two good things. One, you're always working on making the best film, and you're doing good for the audience that loves Marathi cinema. So more power to you for
Thank
that.
you.
And I want to ask you lastly. I'm also told that you're back with a bang.
Yes.
You're shooting quite a bit.
Yes.
What all should the audience expect in this coming year?
So Veer is
Great.
there.
Yes.
Then there's a film with Chrome Pictures with Alia Sen. She's the director. So I'm doing a film on that. I'm doing another South film which is a bilingual between them. And yeah,
Wow.
then I hope to do a lot more. Yeah.
Fantastic, guys! Can't wait to watch this. So please show me also very
Yes,
soon.
thank
Yes.
you, Rohit. Hi guys, this is Riteish Deshmukh
Hi, this is Genelia Deshmukh.
and you're watching Bollywood Hungama.